So, productivity assessment, okay? If this is your first time doing the productivity assessment, let me know in the comments. Maybe drop a 1 in the comments as if this is your first time. This is something that we do, I feel like I try to do it every year, but I don't think I have done it every year since I first created this. So a little bit of background, I don't even remember. Oh, I think I talk about it in the slide. So let me not do what I often do, which is I start preempting the class before I even have started it. So this is the productivity assessment hosted by me, Alexis, also known as MissTrenchcoat all across the internet. Make sure to go ahead and give this video a like, the stream a like, and feel free to leave me a comment as we go through the assessment today. Okay, so my purpose and intention with this training today is that I want you to walk away from this assessment with a clear understanding of the core productivity competencies that you want to improve on and have a plan to get started, okay? So I think that there are many different ways to test or assess yourself, but I've never found a comprehensive test for productivity. So I decided to create one. So this assessment is based on self-reporting. So you aren't being compared to anyone else or any arbitrary standards for productivity, which don't really exist anyway, okay? This assessment is 50 questions in length with 10 questions for each of 5 categories of productivity: planning, time management, boundaries, confidence, and energy. This assessment will measure your development across 7 core productivity competencies, and I'll explain more about the competencies when we get to scoring your assessment. And the questions are to be answered with a simple agree or disagree. I don't want you to overthink the questions. You either generally believe the statement to be true most of the time for you or not. So, the productivity assessment was something I developed, I don't remember how many years ago. Was it in 2021? No, I think it was 2022. I wanted to have a way to help people identify what their productivity struggles were, because long story short, I've worked with so many women over a decade that I've been doing this work. And the thing I've always noticed is that people will come to me and tell me that their problem is X or Y or something, right? And they've been trying to work on this problem and it's not making things better. And then by talking to me, I realize that they think their problem is one thing, but their actual real issue is something else. And that's why I thought it was necessary to put together an assessment for your productivity, because I think what happens is, there's like a root cause and then like a symptom. And the problem is that I think we see symptoms and we try to fix symptoms, but if you don't address the root cause of your productivity issues, you're just going to have the same issues pop up in new ways, right? So it's like, if you get sick and you're just trying to take a Tylenol because you got a headache, or you're just trying to take like cough syrup to stop the cough. Yes, that takes the symptom down momentarily, just for a little bit. But the thing is that you probably, maybe you're dehydrated and that's why you have the headache, or maybe you've got the flu and that's why you have a cough. It's more important to understand and treat the root cause of the issue than just symptoms. Okay. So that is what I've noticed with people in their productivity, is that a lot of people think their issues with their productivity are one thing, but it's actually something else. And so I developed this assessment on my own, right? I've got I'm not like a psychologist or anything like that. I'm just someone who's been working with women for the last decade plus. And so I have seen the patterns and I've been able to capture them, I think, pretty well inside of this assessment. So I just want to remind you guys to download the assessment workbook. If you are on my email list already, you got the link to the workbook in the email today. If you are watching this stream and you're not on my email list, there is going to be a link down below where you can sign up to get on my email list, and it's going to forward you to like a replay watch page where I will have the link. There is a link in there for you to go ahead and download the workbook. That's going to help you to just follow along. You don't need it, but I would recommend using this little free workbook so that you can just follow along with the class and not have any issues and be able to track your answers and things like that. So next, let's talk about how to actually answer the questions. So the questions on this assessment are intended to be answered with a simple agree or disagree. So agree is the affirmative answer, the yes, meaning that you believe that the statement applies to you like most of the time. So most of the time, this is going to be up to you and your gut response here. But if you feel like most of the time could be just like 51% of the time, you know what I mean? Like if you feel like it's true for you most of the time, then it's a yes. If not, it would be no, right? So disagree is the negative answer. It's a no, meaning that you do not believe the statement applies to you most of the time. We are not looking for perfect answers here. This is something to really understand. No one does all of these statements perfectly 100% of the time, including me, which is why I don't want you to focus on, really, I want you to focus. It's why I want you to focus on what feels like your normal or your default most of the time, or like more times than not. Because I think there's always times where we have things together and maybe we're doing better in an area. And then there's as well, there are always times where I feel like maybe we feel like we're not doing as well in some areas. So the issue here is if you feel like you're someone who is generally negative about your productivity, I don't want you to just say like no to all of these statements, right? I want you to be reasonable. I want you to use your gut. I want you to ask yourself, is this really something that when I come to a situation like this, is this the thing that I struggle with, right? So that's how I want you to answer this. Now, of course, I've got a little disclaimer, is that this philosophy in this productivity assessment, everything I'm teaching you today, it's still a work in progress, but I think that it works if you do the work. I don't think it's perfect. Like I said, I'm not like a doctor. I'm not a scientist. This hasn't been like a research tested, like double blind studied or anything like that. But I have had like thousands of women go through this productivity assessment at this point, and so many people tell me that it really has helped them to identify what their real issue is, because they were wasting time trying to solve a symptom instead of the root cause. So just keep that in mind. If things don't feel like exactly perfect, it's because it isn't going to be perfect. None of us are perfect. And so, just take this as this will work for you if you approach it with that sort of like lighter attitude, that it's not, it's not something that needs to be picture perfect. It's just something that we're doing our best, to work through. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the assessment. The first category of questions come from planning, which is all about making successful plans and executing on them. So I'm going to give you guys the 10 questions. There's 5 questions on each slide. And what I'm going to do is kind of give you guys a little bit of time on each page to be able to ask me questions, right? So if you have any questions about these, or you need a little bit more context, let me know and I will respond to you. Please try to use the question, like see how it says planning, it says like P1, P2. These are all the planning questions in the planning category. Try, if you have a question about one of these questions, use the question, tell me what it is, like P1, P2, etc., right? So that I know which question you're referring to. Okay, so planning. Are you ready? And if you're not using the workbook, feel free to just write like P1, P2, P3, P4, right? Just write those out like that. And then just put your agree or disagree, and you'll still be able to follow along even without the workbook. Okay, so question number 1 is, I have and use a paper or digital planner on a regular basis. So this is any sort of planner, really, right? If you have a paper planner, if you've got a like one on your tablet, like I use my iPad, if you use an app, right, or a program on your computer, or if you use a calendar, that's on your desk or on your refrigerator, you use some sort of planner of some sort. Agree or disagree? The next question is P2. I record my tasks inside my planner. Okay. So what I'm saying here is that you are using this planner for tasks as opposed to schedules, right? Sometimes that calendar on the, on the refrigerator might just have schedules on it, right? So if you're not writing down the tasks that you need to do, then you would say disagree to this question, right? P3. I record my scheduled appointments inside my planner. So again, like I said, tasks or appointments, do you use scheduled tasks as well? Scheduled appointments or, scheduled items. Do you put scheduled items on your planner as well? P4 is I keep track of key information in my planner so I don't forget it. And more often than not, having that reminder in my planner helps me. So additional information that you keep in there so you don't forget, that you remember, so that you keep things together and organized, and you find that you not only do you write it down there, but you actually go back to look at it, and therefore it helps you to remember and keep a little bit more organized. And P5 is I record my personal goals and projects inside my planner, right? So your projects, your objectives, anything related to you trying to go after a goal, do you put those inside of your planner? Agree or disagree? Yes or no? Affirmative or negative? Okay. I'm going to move on to the next slide. But like I said, if you have questions about any of these questions, let me know. I know some of these are pretty straightforward. I think when we get into other categories, it gets a little more confusing. P6, when I record things in my planner, I tend to get them done. So if something is written in your planner, it means you'll remember it and you'll get it done. Agree or disagree? P7, I feel confident that I know how to use my planner to keep me organized and on track. Agree or disagree? Do you feel like you know how to use your planner, right? Do you feel like it's keeping you organized and on track? P8, I only occasionally miss tasks or appointments and rarely miss anything of high importance. Okay, so if something is in your planner, you're not going to miss those tasks. You're not going to miss those appointments if they're important, right? So like we only occasionally miss things, right? And the reason I say this is because I don't think there's any one of us who does every single solitary task that they plan for in a day. Sometimes we don't have enough time, right? Sometimes we get sidetracked, right? But you're not missing things all the time. It's only like an occasional miss, and anything that's high importance, you are able to still follow through on those. P9 is when I look at my planner, I can clearly see the next important action for me to take. So when you look at your planner, do you know what the next most important thing is for you to do? P10, I have a reliable routine in place for planning my days, weeks, and months. Right? So do you have a plan that you use, a routine, where you're planning regularly? So this doesn't mean that you're like planning every day, because I'll be honest with you guys, I plan during the week, but on the weekends, unless there's something going on, I don't plan on the weekends. I will sometimes, like on a Saturday or a Sunday, I will plan my week ahead, but I'm not in there like daily planning on like a Saturday, right, to like map out my day. So again, this is just like most of the time. You have that routine in place for planning. Okay, so that's the planning category. I'm going to go ahead and move into the next category. But again, if you have any questions, and I know there's a little bit of a delay, so if you have questions, I will go back and things like that. Okay, the next category is time management. So utilizing strategy to effectively manage your time. T1, I feel like I'm a good manager of my time and use my time to the best of my ability. And again, this is just most of the time. This is not every single moment of the day. But do you feel like you're a good manager of your time and you use your time the best you can pretty often? T2, I know and execute on strategies to help me manage a large task load. So this is specifically asking about, do you have and use strategies to essentially complete a long to-do list, right? As quickly as possible, right? Do you use strategies like that? Time management strategies. T3, I get the most important tasks done each day, even if I can't complete everything on my list. This is a big one because I don't think any of us, consistently finish every single thing on our list. But as long as we're getting the most important things done most days, I think, our productivity is moving in the right direction. Okay? So T4, I have a clear method for prioritizing tasks and appointments so that important items are always completed in a timely manner. You have a clear method for prioritizing your tasks and appointments so that you know things are getting completed on time. Yes or no, agree or disagree. That's why I have like all those ways of saying it. Yes, no, agree, disagree, affirmative, negative, because I feel like sometimes, we agree, disagree, it doesn't always sound right in our head. Sometimes we're like, oh yeah, yes, I do this, right? So that would be agree, it would be an affirmative. T5, I understand how to batch my work and I do so as often as necessary. Necessary, right? That's the important word here, is that when it's necessary for me to batch work, I know how to do it and I utilize it when I need to. Agree or disagree? Honestly, you guys, I don't think I've had any alcohol. Definitely not all year. Oh, maybe Christmas Eve I had a little bit of wine. But this is like so much for me to drink. Let's hope I'm not like plastered at the end of the call. I'm like seriously a lightweight. I like never drink. Okay, so T6. I am good at estimating the time it will take me to complete tasks most of the time. So essentially, you go to do something, you set aside a period of time, and the thing generally takes about that time, right? Again, we're not looking for perfect. We're looking for like on the game board. You know what I mean? T7. I'm good at setting reasonable expectations for the amount of work I can complete in a day. Does that sound like you? Can you set reasonable expectations? Or like what would be unreasonable would be you write so many things down and you only get like 2 things off the list done, and then you feel like totally overwhelmed because tomorrow comes and you have to keep working on that list plus the list for the new day. T8. Sorry, ladies. I am rarely in a position where I need to quickly complete work on past due priority tasks that have been missed. So this is a question about like, how often do you have to put out fires, right? So it's like, oh no, I missed that thing. It was due last week and I totally forgot about it. And now I have to scramble and prioritize getting this thing done. And that was unexpected. So I think that stuff happens to us every once in a while, right? But if it's happening a lot to you, that's going to be a disagree, because we want to say it happens, but rarely. It's not something that's happening to me every day. T9. I am usually working on tasks and complete them before their due date. So do you generally complete things before they're due? Or are you someone who starts working on a project the second it's due or after it's due, and therefore you're putting out fires? And T10, I have high expectations of myself that I often meet. So do you feel like you meet your expectations of yourself? Agree or disagree? So that is the time management portion. So we're 2 down, 3 to go. I'm going to move into the next section of category of questions. And of course, again, let me know if you have any questions about one that you need me to talk about more. So boundaries is the next category. This is all about protecting your ability to be productive so that you can get things done. B1, I am good at dealing with interruptions in my workday. Okay? I'm not asking interruptions don't happen, but you feel like you're good with dealing with them, right? And you may deal with them in different ways. Sometimes an interruption may be frivolous and you need to tell the person, I'm sorry, I'm working on something, can we talk about this later? Or I have another priority item that I'm working on, right? And then I can get to your thing later, right? Or, someone comes in and it's a very important thing and you say, okay, I have to reprioritize and work on their thing next, right? So you're good at dealing with the interruptions. Right? When people stop you, when people ask you to do other things, are you able to deal with them, or does it really sidetrack you for a great period of time? Keeping in mind that anytime you get an interruption, it does still take time to get back into your workflow. If your workflow was interrupted, it's going to take time to get back into it. So just keep that in mind. B2, I am open to helping others and rarely feel like I'm being asked for too much. So you're someone who at work, at home, wherever in your life, you're willing to help. And when people do ask for help, you don't feel like they're asking for too much or taking advantage. B3, I am not easily distracted. Okay, so even an interruption comes, you're able to keep your focus in terms of certain interruptions. Obviously, if you're at work and someone knocks on your door and comes into your office and talks to you, it's hard to remain focused, right? But, if you hear like a ding of your iPhone, or the phone rings and you're working on something, so you're not going to pick it up, right? Is that something, that you're able to do, able to keep focus when other minor distractions come around? And B4, when I schedule time to work on something, I use that time wisely. Right? So it's a lot of times we set aside time, we block out time to do things, and you either use the time or we don't use the time wisely. So agree or disagree. B5 is when new tasks pop up throughout my day, I have a clear method for tracking them so they don't interrupt my current workload. So when someone comes and tells you you need to do this new task, do you have a method for dealing with that? Right? A method for prioritizing, for understanding, okay, this is whether or not you need to be working on it, or no, I need to finish what I'm working on right now and then I will get to this later. Right? Do you have a method for tracking any new tasks that pop up so you don't get interrupted? Next page. B6. I'm able to manage new urgent priority tasks without disregarding my existing workload. So new urgent things pop up, but you're able to integrate them with your existing workload. Now that doesn't mean that like you're going to wait on the new task, right? Maybe the new task needs to be done, but you're able to manage that and still get things done from your to-do list. Now, of course, it may mean that a few things on your to-do list might not get done at the end of the day, but you're still able to manage both of those things, new work and the existing work. B7, I plan buffer time into my day so that I can handle unexpected tasks while successfully completing my own workload. So do you plan for white space or buffer time? Or are you someone who overplans their day and then if something goes wrong or something new pops up, it creates a domino effect where things just keep getting knocked down? That would be a disagree then. B8 is when I am at work, I don't feel like I waste much time and I rarely question where my time has gone. Specifically when you're working on whatever your work is. Do you feel like you can get focused? You don't waste too much time. And, once you're done the work day, you say, okay, I got some things done there, B9. I'm able to gracefully set boundaries with people who do come to me and ask for too much. So when people are asking you for things and it's not something you can do, or they're really stretching your generosity, are you able to set those boundaries gracefully? And B10, when I make a plan for my day often follows closely to that plan. Not exactly, but it follows the plan closely, right? Is that an agree or disagree? Okay. We're going to move on to the next category, which is confidence, which is all about believing in yourself so that you can take action without hesitation. So C1, I think of myself as a generally organized and productive person. Do you feel that way about yourself? Agree or disagree? C2, I feel little to no anxiety when approaching my tasks. Is that an agree or a disagree? C3, I am able to quickly ready myself and my workspace to get things done. So when you're ready to get to work and get focused, you're able to quickly ready yourself. Or are you someone who procrastinates and dilly-dallies around to kind of keep yourself from taking action? C4, I trust myself and don't often second guess my choices. So like I said, I think all of us second guess things sometimes. And it's okay to some extent to second guess, but I'm saying when I think about this question, it's really more about do I ruminate too much? Do I fail to make a choice, or do I make a choice and then am constantly going back on it in my mind? If that's you, if you're constantly going back on it, then it's a disagree. C5, I have an easy time making decisions. Not that making decisions is easy, but that you have the experience, you have the confidence, you maybe even have a method or process that you use to help you make decisions. Okay, we'll move to the next page. C6, when I am nervous about a project, I settle myself and begin to take action to build positive momentum as quickly as possible. So when you're feeling nervous about getting work done, do you have a method to settle yourself and get yourself focused? Because again, it's a rare person who doesn't have any nervousness around something in their life that they're working on. But the idea is that when you get that nervousness, do you have a process that you can follow that will help you overcome it? C7, I am confident that I am a smart and capable person. Do you feel that way about yourself? Agree or disagree? And I'm kind of moving through these things really quickly because I don't necessarily want you guys to overthink any of them. I do feel like you should be able to look at these questions and in a matter of moments, be able to say agree or disagree. So C8, I know I am worthy to achieve the goals I set for myself, even when they are outside of my comfort zone. So I know that I'm worthy of my goals. C9, I know that my results in life come from the actions I do or do not take. Do you believe that statement is true or false? Yes or no, agree or disagree. And C10, I take responsibility for my time, my life, and how I spend. I take responsibility for myself, my life, and how I spend my time. Okay. Next is energy. Cultivating and managing the energy necessary to achieve your goals. E1, I always have enough energy to complete the essential tasks I plan for a day, right? So it's not I have enough energy to get a million things done, but when I make a reasonable plan for what I want to get done in a day, I usually have enough energy most days to get those things done. Just making another little blini. I usually get E2. I usually get a restful night's sleep. Restful is the key word here, and usually. E3, I make a habit of taking steps to ensure my energy is at its highest as often as possible. So do you have things that you do to rejuvenate your energy? For me, that's usually when I'm tired, I just take a nap or listen to a meditation or a brainwave app that helps wake me up. I make sure I eat. I make sure I get sleep. E4, I have a regular self-care routine. So what that means to you, every one of us will be different, but you have a routine for the way you take care of yourself. And that's more than just going to get massages or taking bubble baths, right? That's I'm doing the essential things to take care of myself, right? It could be working out. It could be skincare, hygiene things. It could be your meals and things like that. But you make sure to take care of yourself and you do it regularly. E5, my self-care routine includes healthy living habits regarding nutrition, mental health, and movement. So does your self-care routine include those items? Nutrition, mental health, and movement. E6, I don't often waste mental energy thinking about and processing things that are outside of my immediate control. So if something is outside of your control, are you able to kind of compartmentalize that and not worry about it too much? I think we all worry about things, even if they're outside of our control to some extent, but you don't feel like it's a problem for you. E7, when I am feeling low, I have a routine to lift my spirits. So when you don't feel good, do you have a process? Do you have something you do that helps you make you feel better? E8, my morning routine successfully prepares me mentally and physically for a good day. Do you believe that statement is true or false? Yes or no, agree or disagree, affirmative or negative. E9, my workday routine keeps me feeling motivated, organized, and in control of my work. Do you have a workday routine? Does it help you feel motivated and organized and in control of what you're doing? Agree or disagree? And E10, my evening routine successfully prepares me for the next morning and a good night's sleep. Agree or disagree? Okay. So Those are the questions. Hopefully you guys have gone through it. Next, we're going to score your assessment, okay? And this is how we're going to do it. I guide you along in the workbook, but I'll walk you through it right now as well. So, determining the root of the productivity problem. As I was evaluating common productivity issues, I began to notice that there were a set of skills at the core of determining productivity success in individuals. The more I dug into these skills, I was able to discern 7 specific core competencies that could be developed in order to increase overall productivity. These core competencies play a major role across different measures or categories and work together to form a solid foundation for a productive lifestyle. The 7 core productivity competencies are habits, how you react to specific cues in your day and the resulting routines that you develop. Focus, the ability to concentrate on the task at hand until it is complete. Prioritization, the ability to determine which tasks and choices are most important. Expectations, the act of or ability to clearly anticipate the probability that something will occur. Strategy, understanding how to execute the practical methods of time and task management. Mindset, your deep-seated beliefs about yourself and the way the world works. And self-care, the act of and ability to attend to one's physical or mental well-being. So those are the 7 core productivity competencies. So when it comes to scoring your assessment, the basis of each of the questions you answered in the productivity assessment reflects one of these core competencies. Your agreement with a statement reflects back to a positive development in a specific core competency. And of course, your disagreement points to areas where the core competency needs more development. In just a moment, we're going to walk through the rubric for scoring your assessment on the basis of these core competencies. As we walk through the scoring rubric, keep in mind that with 7 competencies across 50 questions, there isn't an even breakdown of questions to competencies. Some competencies have more nuance than others, and therefore more questions are devoted to them in order to get as thorough view of possible of your development for each. So here are the kind of question breakdowns for each of the competencies. So habits has 8 total questions, focus has 9, prioritization has 5, expectations 5, strategy there's 8 questions, mindset 11, and self-care 4, right? And so there's more questions for, more complicated topics that really give you maybe a more specific view of what it is that you're struggling with. Because again, remember I told you earlier that there's sometimes situations where we actually do well, and sometimes there are situations where we don't do well, right? And so that might make us unsure about how developed we are in a certain area, because sometimes we do well with it and sometimes we don't, right? And that's why there's a lot of nuance in those sorts of categories. So I need more questions to kind of drill down with you. What's the situation for you? So now I'm going to have you go through and highlight the questions that you had disagreed with on the scoring rubric page of your assessment workbook. So we're going to go through each of the 5 categories and the 10 questions for each, and you can just highlight any of these questions that were a disagree for you. And it's going to tell you which competency it was for. So in planning, P1 is strategy, P2 strategy, P3 is strategy, P4 is strategy, P5 is strategy, P6 is focus, P7 is mindset, P8 is prioritization, P9 is prioritization, and P10 is habits. So if you said disagree to any of those, I want you to highlight them on the scoring rubric page. For time management, T1 was mindset, T2 was strategy, T3 is prioritization, T4 was strategy, T5 is strategy, T6 is expectations, T7 is expectations, T8 is prioritization, T9 prioritization, and T10 is expectations. So again, on the scoring rubric page, I want you to highlight, circle, whatever you want to do, put an asterisk next to however you want to indicate it, the questions that you disagreed with. Boundaries. B1 is focus, B2 is expectations, B3 is focus, B4 is focus, B5 is habits, B6 is focus, B7 expectations, B8 focus, B9 self-care, and B10 focus. Confidence. C1 is mindset, C2 mindset, C3 focus, C4 mindset, C5 mindset, C6 mindset, C7 mindset, C8 mindset, C9 mindset, and C10 mindset. Energy. E1 is self-care, E2 is self-care, E3 is self-care, E4 is habits, E5 is habits, E6 is focus, E7 is habits, E8 is habits, E9 is habits, E10 is habits. Okay? Again, highlight, circle, asterisk, whatever you want to do on the rubric page, on the scoring page, the questions that you disagreed with. Now, we're going to use the scoring rubric page of the workbook, and I want you to count the total number of disagrees for each of the 7 competency categories. So you'll go ahead and look for habits and look through what you highlighted and count how many habit answers, habit questions you disagreed with and have highlighted. Okay? Then you'll go through focus. How many focus questions did you highlight? Prioritization. How many prioritization questions did you highlight? Expectations. How many of those did you highlight? Strategy. How many of those? Mindset and self-care. How many of each of those? So the idea here is that once you've filled this out, you're going to have like habits number out of 8, focus number out of 9. And what you're going to do is you're going to divide the total number of disagrees by the total number of questions to come up with a percentage rate. So let's say you said disagree to 2 of the habit questions. 2 divided by 8 is 0.25 or 25%. So that is your disagreement rate for the habits, right? Let's see, focus. Let's say you said 3 out of 9 you disagreed with. That would be 3 divided by 9 is 0.33 or 33%. And so because each of the amount of questions vary, it's important for us to get like a total percentage rate to see which ones you're struggling with more. Okay. So of course, the higher the percentage rate, the more you struggle with that specific competency. So if you got 3 out of 9 for focus and 33%, that's higher than the 25% if you did 2 out of 8 for habits, right? We're just doing this to see which ones we're struggling with the most, because we don't want to count just by the numbers, because again, it's not how many disagrees you had in each category, it's the overall percentage rate. Okay, so once you have that done, you'll start working on your development action plan. That's all about taking action on what you've learned today. So once you know the percentage rate of development for each core competency, you can begin to take action improving your development in any areas that you're not satisfied with. I recommend starting with the competency that has the highest percentage of disagrees, evaluating the questions that you disagreed with that relate to the competency, and choosing no more than 3 questions to work on improving at one time. Okay? So you're going to find the highest category of disagrees and then review the answers that you said no to, you disagreed with, and pick 3 of them to actually work on at a time. We don't want to get overwhelmed. So we want to actually work on 3 specific issues from that competency maximum at a time. And if 3 feels like too much for you, if you're new to this productivity world and you just want to do 1 at a time, then just do 1 at a time. I want you to, it's better to focus on 1 at a time and just make slower progress, but make progress than to put too much on your plate and then get overwhelmed. So literally, I'm going to have you take the question that you disagree with, and I want you to dissect them to understand what you actually need to work on to improve yourself. So this assessment is for your development. Remember, there is no ideal pass-fail rate or score for this assessment. It's up to you to determine the areas that you are not satisfied with and improve upon them as you feel is necessary. You are only competing against yourself for a more productive and successful life. And remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint, right? So we need to be in this for the long haul of personal development. There's no overnight results to improving yourself, right? This is one of the reasons why I really like to do the assessment like multiple times a year, because you maybe if this is your first time taking it, you have a baseline. And if you actually are working on, correcting some of these issues that you're, saying that you disagree with from the questions, then you may get different scores in the future. And I've had so many women tell me that they took the assessment at one time of year, they worked on some things, and then the next time they took the assessment, their score got better. And the next time they worked on the assessment, it got better and better, right? Because it's helping you to actually drill down to what your issues are versus just going out and like reading a bunch of random productivity books, or, you know, watching lots of videos or listening to podcasts. Like, I love doing all those things, but if you're doing those things, if you're trying to do research and trying to solve problems, but you've got the wrong root cause, like you have the wrong core competency, like if you think the issue that you have is planning, but really the issue for you is strategy, right? It's planning strategy, then you're going to waste a lot of time just trying to like learn how to plan or setting up a planner, thinking the planner is the problem when really the strategy is the problem, right? That's just an example for you, right? So that's why this is a very nuanced approach to working on your productivity, but one that actually does give people results, because so many women who've done this have told me that it really helped them zero in on exactly what was wrong and exactly what they needed to work on. So they didn't have to go and just like read all the books, watch all the videos, waste all the time improving an area that actually didn't need to be touched. So the productivity assessment resource guide. So I've built out a complete resource guide with on-demand masterclasses for each of these productivity competencies. Each class provides research and insight into the competency plus specific strategies for each question of the assessment. So if you stick around a little longer today, I'll talk to you about how you can get instant access to this amazing resource that was developed to be like an easy button for you to implement changes and improve your productivity faster than trial and error on your own. So let me know, what do you think? What were your results? Are you surprised by your results, or do you feel like they confirmed what you already thought about your productivity? I'd love to hear what your results are, and there's plenty of you here. So I'd love to hear what you guys thought of the assessment. Okay. So again, I know that there's a delay, so I guess I'll just keep going and we'll come back to this. Just because I know some people, it might take a minute for you guys to get typing, and I know you're probably still doing calculations as well, right? So I know we're kind of moving quickly through this, but hopefully you're still with me. Okay, so if you are ready for more, I've got an on-demand resource that is ready for you to help you improve your productivity. The Productivity Assessment Resource Guide is your on-demand tool for improving any area of productivity in 3 easy steps. Step 1 is to take the productivity assessment and score your results in the workbook, which is what you're doing right now. So you're already a third of the way through this process, right? Knowing what's wrong, what you need to focus on is the first barrier to making actual, real, tangible improvements. So you're doing this right now. So congratulations, you're already in step 1. Step 2 is to identify that first core competency that you need to improve and then watch the masterclass. So I've got, like I said, 7 masterclasses, one for each of the competencies: the forming positive habits, finding your focus, understanding priorities, managing expectations, time and task management strategy, mindset matters, and self-care strategy masterclass, right? So you'll pick the core competency that you would like to start with. And then step 3 is to use the question selection tool to get quick strategy tips and reference. So on where the resource guide is, this productivity assessment resource guide, is you're kind of seeing like screenshots. So if I have all of the questions listed out, and you can actually click that little plus button and it'll open it up and it'll give you the strategy for like how to actually start addressing this issue, each of the issues. So that becomes like a quick way for you to like reference that alongside the masterclass, which will give you a lot more, background information and context that I also think is helpful and powerful for you to have, so that you understand the reason why you're doing things. And I think when you know why you're doing things, it's easier for you to make adjustments based on your needs, right? So I always think the context is really important, okay? So there's one, like I said, there's one for each of the categories, right? For all 50 questions. So how to get started with the resource guide right now. The resource guide is exclusively inside of the Charmed Life Mastermind. This is my productivity, planning, and personal development group coaching community for ambitious women who want to take their lives from busy to balanced and transform themselves from overwhelmed to overachiever. The Mastermind transforms you from busy to balanced and overwhelmed to overachiever in the following ways, right? This is how it transforms you. Number one, it gives you tools to help you build your ideal functional planner setup, right? So if you're someone who's struggling to set up a planner and you feel like that's one of your issues, there are tons of different tools inside of the Mastermind that are going to help you build out that ideal functional planning system for yourself. The Mastermind gives you accountability to your planning routine. So if you feel like the planning routines thing is the thing that you are struggling with, right? It gives you accountability for those so that you stay consistent. So you're planning and hopefully getting better at planning, as the days progress and able to actually stick to your plans more often. It gives you systems for setting, planning, and achieving your goals inside of the Mastermind. So inside the Mastermind, we have tons of classes and resources on goal setting, planning out your goals, achieving your goals, right? We have our You Got This Masterclass series, the CEO retreat, right? For business goals, right? Multiple different systems that'll help you to actually take your goals and break them down into manageable pieces. The Mastermind gives you strategies to help you get more done in less time, right? Helping you be more efficient, working smarter, not harder. The Mastermind gives you resources for personal development to up-level yourself, right? So because I think the whole, the underlying current of this whole conversation even today is personal development, right? The better you get, the more you up-level yourself, the better you get at your productivity, the more things you get done, the more success you reach, the more goals you hit, right? And that just continues as you continue to invest in yourself and put time and energy into yourself. That brings you to a new level and you experience life at a new level of productivity and success and happiness and fulfillment and all that. So those are the big categories of things that you get inside the Mastermind. Here's a little bit more of the specifics. So what you get as a member is instant access to a library of content, hundreds of masterclasses, live Q&A replays, and planning sessions. You get planner inserts, meditations, and additional resources covering the topics of planning, productivity, mindset, goal setting, metaphysics, and more. Every month, we have 3 live Zoom calls, a monthly masterclass, a coaching call, and a planning power hour. All replays are available immediately after the call has ended. You get access to our Mastermind Slack, our private Slack, for accountability, daily prompts, and on-demand coaching with me. Plus, this is where we do our book club, additional Q&A, monthly challenges. We do meal planning inspo. I share Spotify playlists and so much more. And as a bonus, when you enroll in the annual membership option of the Charmed Life Mastermind, you get the 2025 Master Planner system completely free. So here's a few standout extras inside the Mastermind. I was just trying to think when I make this kind of presentation and I'm like, oh, these are the things you get inside the Mastermind. I could not possibly tell you everything that's inside of the Mastermind. There really is that much. But there are a few extra things that maybe you wouldn't think would be inside of a program like this, but I like to kind of call them out because they're things that I really love and I think they're really valuable for the community. So the first is the Book of the Month and Charmed Life Library. So we kind of have this little book club, right? So each month we read a personal development book together and I write a strategy synopsis of key takeaways. These synopses are organized on our membership website so you can use it as a personal development Cliff's Notes library or a resource to find your next great nonfiction read. So I think, for sure, for me, reading has been something that is an essential habit and I recommend that everyone develops a habit of reading. But I know that for many of us, sometimes nonfiction is not the best category to read, right? Sometimes it's a little boring or dense. And so I think that for me, I know that I've learned so much from reading different books, but that I know that it would still be valuable even if you didn't have the time to read it for you to kind of know the strategy that's inside of them, which is why I put together these strategy synopses so that you can kind of read the synopsis and learn about what, the key strategies are that I think you should be implementing from the book. And then you can put the information to action quicker than having to read the whole book for 5, 10, 15, 20 hours, however long it takes you to read the book or listen to the book on tape. You can just kind of really quickly read the synopsis and put the strategies into action. So, or you can use the synopses as a way for you to determine and kind of pick and choose what books you do want to read. Maybe you do want to read some, nonfiction books, some personal development. And but you don't want to waste your time, because let me tell you, I've read so many books that for me, it's just, they say the same thing that every other book says. And so it would be nice to know what was inside of it, right? Like generally speaking. So I hope that my synopses also help with that. The next standout extra inside the mastermind are our monthly challenges. So inside Slack, I organize productivity challenges that can help motivate you and keep you accountable to specific changes that you want to make. Now, I don't have a monthly challenge every single month, but I do like to structure the challenges so that they're kind of a little bit evergreen. So let's say we did one in January, right? But if you kind of join the mastermind now and like January's challenge is over, and you're like, oh, I really want to do that, but I don't want to wait till like next January or whenever Alexis is going to make this similar challenge again. I kind of make it so that you can go ahead and I give you the resources to kind of do it yourself, right? So that if you want to, you can give yourself your own challenge. And I think that can be very helpful, because I think challenges, little things that you can do every day, or like one little prompt, that's a really good way to kind of keep yourself accountable and to build motivation and like momentum for yourself. Another standout extra inside are guided meditations and mindset work. So inside the resource library, I have a collection of guided meditations and mindset work videos to help you start the day on your own terms, to help you regulate your nervous system and take a more holistic approach to your productivity. I know you probably wouldn't think that like meditations and mindset work and journaling prompts and affirmations and things like that are inside of a productivity mastermind, but they are, because I find that these sorts of tools are very important for helping us regulate ourselves and to help us start our life and our day on our own terms. And so that's something that's like a really big part of the Charmed Life Mastermind for me. And the final thing I kind of want to just point out to you guys is the quarterly planning magazine. So each quarter I publish a digital magazine that becomes like your guide to the lessons and strategy that are coming up inside the membership for that quarter. It's absolutely one of my favorite things to create for the mastermind community, because it's like officially made me like an editor of my own magazine. And the ladies inside absolutely love it. And again, it's just one of those resources that, with so much inside the mastermind, I know it can be overwhelming for some people, especially people who are just getting started improving their productivity. So, having the magazine is just like a simple way for you to kind of get an overview of what's going on and to help you pick and choose like the classes that you might want to attend or the replays that you want to watch, or the strategies that you want to try, because it's not possible for us to have and do and try everything at once. So, being able to prioritize and understand like this is something that's interesting to me, this is something that's going to meet my needs, and kind of filter out the rest, that's very important. So I hope the planning magazine, right, is something that really helps you to get a handle on, the path that you're going to take as a member of the mastermind to improve your own productivity in life. Okay. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about are my 2024 survey results. So inside the Charmed Life Mastermind, at the end of the year, I always conduct a survey of the mastermind members to like see how they're liking the experience, and especially to find out what changes they've been experiencing as a member. Now, I don't normally like use these results and like publish them, but I was thinking like, actually, maybe I should be talking to people about what results people are getting, because I think that's going to help anyone who wants to be a potential new member to decide if the mastermind is right for them. So I have, broken out some of the really standout results from the 2024 survey to share with you guys. So the first standout result, I would say, is that 78% of the members who have completed the survey achieved new goals, right? So 78% said they achieved their goals, their new goals, at least some of their goals, right? So they are achieving new goals. They're actually making progress on their goals as a member of the mastermind, 78%. That's crazy. I feel like that's like a tremendous amount. 71% said that they became better and more consistent with their planning routines. And that totally makes sense, because we have our monthly planning power hour, we have quarterly planning, we do an annual planning every week inside of the Slack. I drop the weekly planning prompts. So it really helps to prompt you and keep you accountable to actually planning consistently and learning how to plan, right? In accordance with my like functional planning methodology. So 71% became better and more consistent with planning routines. 64% said they successfully executed new productivity systems and strategies. So that they got these strategies and systems and they put them into place and it was successful for them, right? They were trying these things out. They found out what worked for them, and 64% actually implemented new systems and strategies, right? So that's amazing. 64% also said that they improved their habits, right? So they saw an improvement in their habits as a result of being a member of the mastermind. Again, tremendous. And 42% improved their mindset and self-talk. Like I said, mindset is a really big part of our productivity, in my opinion, if you're taking a holistic view of it. And so we do talk about mindset work, and I have a lot of different resources for it inside the mastermind. And so 42% of respondents said they improved their mindset and their self-talk. So if you're someone who's got negative self-talk and you need to work on your mindset, right, the mastermind might be a great place for you to do this sort of work in. Now, the response that I believe speaks volumes, right, for the quality of the information and the experience inside the mastermind is this, right? This was I thought the most impressive. 93% of the respondents planned to renew their membership, right? So recent industry data says that the average membership renewal is 85%, but 93%, so greater than average, inside of my membership said, no, they're sticking with the membership on their next renewal. Okay, that's tremendous. I do think that I have a relatively, low turnover rate inside the mastermind. And I will say that a good portion of the members of the mastermind are women who've been with me from the beginning, who have just been doing it since day one with me. So I definitely think that speaks to, the quality of the information, the experience that you're getting inside of the mastermind and the support you're getting from me, as well as the rest of the community. So let's talk about the Charmed Life Mastermind versus other similar programs, okay? So in the Charmed Life Mastermind, you are led by me. I teach all the classes, I lead all the calls, I respond to all the messages in our Slack. I never have missed a class or failed to upload on schedule ever. Sometimes we have to maybe change something because of a scheduling conflict. Very rarely, but it does happen. But I've never missed. I've never not delivered what you guys were expecting. But in other similar programs, the host might only teach live or maybe drops pre-recorded content and then uses moderators for their chat forums, right? So the host often disappears or fails to upload content on schedule. That's not how it is inside of the mastermind. You see me regularly. And I always give you guys what I say I'm going to give you guys when I say I'm going to give it to you, right? In the Charmed Life Mastermind, you get access to our complete library of classes and resources when you join. There's no matter what membership subscription tier kind of thing that you sign up for. So in other membership programs, I know content is often dripped, or you only get access to the classes or resources from your membership period unless you are going to upgrade to the highest price tier. But that's not the way my mastermind is, right? The Charmed Life Mastermind, you get everything as soon as you join. In the Charmed Life Mastermind, I give you my all, and I don't pressure you to purchase other products. If I am running a promotion on a product, members of the mastermind get additional discounts, and I have offers that only apply to members as well. And that's, opposed to other similar programs where the host is constantly pushing other products and offers on you. Your membership doesn't necessarily include everything you need to succeed, and you're constantly being pressured to buy more to get the results that you're looking for. But inside the Charmed Life Mastermind, I give it all to you. It's not just a place. I know for a lot of people have come, I know a lot of people have come to my mastermind and said I was a part of other similar groups, and the people, the host was MIA, or they never dropped content on a regular basis. The content I got was limited. They were constantly pushing their other offers or making you want to buy something else, or telling you that if you had a certain problem, you needed to buy something different, even though you thought you were going to get that problem solved inside of the mastermind, right? So I've had people who've told me that in the past. And so that is something to keep in mind when you're choosing a program to invest in like this. This is something that is really important to me, and I think really has me stand out from other programs. My program, the Charmed Life Mastermind, really stands out from other, options that you have out there. So Who is inside the Charm Life Mastermind? Ambitious, high vibe, planner loving ladies working to create their charmed lives through research backed strategies, tools, and accountability. So here are some of our mastermind sisters. We've got business owners, coaches, authors, teachers, career professionals, lawyers, scientists, full-time mothers, working mothers, retirees, healthcare workers, government employees, energy or spiritual practitioners, beauty service providers, and more. And their hobbies are also very varied. So we've got planners, knitters, campers. We've got people who do yoga, meditation, tarot, astrology, crystals, crafting, gardening, gaming, investing, faith and spirituality, community service, and more. And I tell you this to say that there is someone like you already inside of the mastermind. There's someone who has a similar career path. There are plenty of ladies who probably have a lot of interests in alignment with you. So this really is the place for you if you are here, if you are enjoying this class today, if you enjoy, my teaching and my training. This mastermind is a place where you will belong. It's not just for business owners. It's not just for working women, right? It's not just for career girls, right? It's not just for any one group, right? There's a variety of career paths, lifestyles, and interests inside of the mastermind. So why should you join us today? Here's some food for thought. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I'm sure you've heard that before, right? And very often we don't have enough people in our daily lives that help to uplift, inspire, and advance us, which is exactly why I created the mastermind community to begin with, right? Like I created the mastermind because I knew that this statement, right, is so real, that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I knew that even myself, I didn't have, the 5 people I spent the most time with were not necessarily super productive, focused on goals, bettering themselves, up-leveling their lives, interested in businesses or side hustles or anything like that. And so I created a place so that we could all do it together and kind of have that sort of like group mentality in terms of, uplifting each other and challenging each other and helping each other out. The next food for thought I have for you is that success leaves clues. This is something that I've always believed in. And so I think that if you want to achieve more, you need to surround yourself with people who are actively working towards their goals. Inside the mastermind, you gain insight from women who are planning, strategizing, and taking action so you can follow their lead and create your own success, right? So I really think that success leaves clues. I think each of our paths are going to be different in life, but I think that there's different habits, there's different mindsets, right? There's different strategies that we can, be utilizing to help us reach similar areas of success in our lives. And then what gets scheduled gets done. We've heard this before, right? What gets scheduled gets done. So the biggest difference between those who succeed and those who don't is consistency. The mastermind provides structure, planning systems, and accountability so that you stay on track and actively follow through on your goals. That is the biggest difference between like the mastermind and just like getting some sort of productivity course or book or listening to a podcast. You are in a community, you are getting coaching. You are getting these sorts of routines like built in for you. And so what you're actually making time for in your life, right, is you're going to make time to get things done, right? So that is the biggest difference between those who succeed and those who don't. So just so you know, the Charm Life Mastermind is currently open for enrollment. This is your opportunity to invest in yourself for a wildly successful year. And yes, I know it's not January. I know it's the middle of March, but you can get so much done right now. And you already have a huge head start because you just finished the productivity assessment. So you know exactly what you need to be working on in order to help you grow and advance this year. So inside of the membership, there are 3 payment options to help fit any budget, right? So you can enroll and you for $44 a month, and you can get instant access. Again, everything is included as soon as you register on any of these membership levels. You're just choosing, the payment subscription that is going to work and fit your budget. So $44 a month, you can get everything. $120 a quarter. If you do that option, you're going to save 10% annually. And the annual option is $444 a year, and that will help you save 15% annually. But for my birthday, I have dropped the annual membership to $333. So you're going to get $111 off the annual membership subscription for a limited time. No code is required. And of course, you're also going to get the bonus still, right, of the 2025 Master Planner System, right? Both the print on demand and the digital planning PDF. That's $125 value. Anyone who signs up for the annual membership gets the bonus, right? So that's a gift that goes, a bonus gift for annual members. And so you will get $333 for, the full year membership inside of the Mastermind, plus the bonus as well of the 2025 Master Planner. So here is how you will enroll. So the link below in the description is going to take you to the sales page for the Mastermind with even more information and details on the experience. On that page, you can hit Enroll Now button and view the checkout page for your membership subscription that you choose. You'll be able to check out via credit card, and after the payment is processed, you'll be redirected to the page where you can create your membership account on our private site where all of the classes and materials are housed, and you can get started right now. And if you have any issues or questions, you'll be able to email me, Alexis at strangecharm.com, and I'll be able to help get you worked out. So thank you guys so much for taking the productivity assessment. If you have any questions about the assessment and need my help, let me know. Leave me a comment below the video, or you can send me an email and I would also be glad to help. Remember that this $111 off offer plus the bonus on the annual membership is for a limited time. There is a link in the description and there's no code required. Okay? So you can sign up now. $333 a year, and that is a 37% savings annually. So Colette said that her highest percentage area was prioritization, followed by expectations. She said the assessment is well designed and was fun to fill out, and I find that the results are useful for her next steps. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So ladies, we have come to the end of our class. If there's any other questions, let me know. I know there's plenty of you guys still here. Maybe many of you have already taken the assessment before, so you're just kind of doing your checkup, which is good. But do not forget about the Mastermind, because literally I've been doing the Mastermind since I think it launched it was October of 2020, right? Right there in the middle of the pandemic. And so we have so much going on inside of the Mastermind that literally it's like impossible for you not to be finding the answers to your productivity problems as quickly as possible. Tons of classes, tons of workbooks, tons of inserts, tons of just like on-demand video things for you to do, guided meditations, mindset work, even pretty planning things are in there, right? Things to help you decorate and set up your planner. Just inspirational posts, questions and answers. And of course, I think the most valuable thing is the community and actually being able to come live to classes, ask me questions, get coaching. And if you can't come live, that's what the Slack is for, right? You're always able to message me like on demand. You can send me a message in Slack and I will get back to you as soon as I can. I check the Slack like every single day. So I'm constantly responding to people. So this is really your opportunity to get really affordable coaching on your productivity with a community and tons of amazing goodies and processes and routines that are built into, the way this community really operates for an entire year. We have things going on over and over and over again every single year at different points of the year, right? So we've really established this overall routine that once you get inside the membership, all you have to do is kind of like check in with us, see what's going on, and you're going to have all of your bases covered for getting things done. If you guys are good to go, we can say goodbye for now. Of course, this video is going to remain up for a while. You can leave me comments on it and I'll get back to you. You can send me an email and I would be glad to help you. And I just can't wait to see some fresh new faces inside of the Mastermind. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. Oh, sorry, next week, I guess, because what day is Thursday, right? So we're moving into the weekend. So I hope you guys have a great week next week, a great rest of the month. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon. So thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you later. Bye.